Hi everybody! Today we are going to be taking a look at adjacent angles. The I can statement is I can solve problems with adjacent angles. To get us started, we need to take a look at the vocab word adjacent. The word adjacent means next to something. So if you look at this floor plan of a house, we could say that the living room is adjacent or next to bedroom 1. We could say that the bathroom is adjacent or next to bedroom 2. They are synonyms, adjacent and next to. You could say the laundry room is adjacent to the kitchen and the dining room. They are next to each other. We can use the word adjacent when it comes to geometry and taking a look at angles. So adjacent angles are angles that are next to each other. And to be even more specific, they are angles that share a common side and a common vertex. So if you look at these three pictures down below, right here in the green, these are adjacent angles because they're sharing a common side and they're sharing a common vertex. This second picture, they are not adjacent angles because they are only sharing a vertex. There is not a common side. Right here, this last picture, they are not adjacent because they're only sharing a side. They do not have a common vertex. We can take a look at adjacent angles to help us add up to find the total measure of another angle. So if you look at this visual, angle DBC is 94 degrees. Angle CBA is 40 degrees. Let's say we want to find the measure of angle DBA. That whole measure is the purple arc, and if we add up the 94 plus the 40 degrees, we are going to get 134 degrees. So we can add up the angles to get the whole angle. Now, when we talk about adjacent angles, there are two terms that you will hear: complementary angles and supplementary angles. Complementary angles are angles that will add up to 90 degrees. So if you look at this picture here, 67 degrees plus 23 degrees will add up to 90 degrees, and you can see that is a right angle. Supplementary angles will add up to 180 degrees. So 65 degrees plus 115 degrees all together will be 180 degrees, which is a straight angle. Let's take a closer look at each type. Complementary angles, just as a review, add up to 90 degrees. And it's very easy to get complementary and supplementary mixed up. So here's a helpful tip. Complementary starts with a C. So think of the word corner. That starts with a C. A corner might look like a right angle, which is 90 degrees. So complementary angles, 90 degrees, corner. Hopefully that can help you out. If you look at these three examples, we have 60 degrees plus 30 degrees equals 90 degrees. Next, we have 25 degrees plus 65 degrees equals 90 degrees. Or here, you can add up and do 40 degrees plus 50 degrees equals 90 degrees. Let's take a closer look at supplementary angles. So remember, supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. So here's the tip for this. Supplementary, think S for the word straight. And we know that a straight angle is 180 degrees. So again, here are two examples. 100 degrees plus 80 degrees equals 180, the supplementary angles together. Or the second example, 115 degrees plus 65 degrees equals 180 degrees. Now, you'll find yourself at different times needing to write an equation, and possibly it's an equation with an unknown. And there are several equations that you could write. So if we take a look at the complementary angle right here, we could say x, which is our unknown, plus 23 degrees equals 90. Or you could say 90 degrees, which is the whole, minus what we do know, the 23 degrees, equals x. And when I solve, I will find that x equals 67 degrees. So I could write in here that our missing angle is 67 degrees. And that's because I used what I knew about a complementary angle, and then I used the 23 degrees that was given to me. Let's take a look at this example. This is the supplementary angle because S thinks straight angle. So again, two equations that I could write using an unknown. I could do x plus 156 equals 180, Or I could do 180 minus 156 equals x. When I solve for that, I am going to find that my x is going to equal 24 degrees. Write that right here. And again, I used what I knew. I knew that the whole is 180, and then I knew that this was 156, and that helped me solve for my 24 degrees. Let's do a couple practice problems together. So when we look at this, we know that it is a straight angle, and we can see that right here. Oops, let me get a different color. See that right here. We have this right angle, and we know that we have a straight angle, and we know that straight angles are 180 degrees. So if we do an equation with an unknown, we could do 180 minus 126 equals x, or we could do 126 plus x equals 180. Whichever equation we choose to do, we're going to find out that x is going to equal 54 degrees. All right, let's do another practice problem, but taking a look at a complementary angle. And again, we know a complementary angle is going to add up to 90, so we can have these two equations. You can take that you know the whole thing is 90 degrees minus what else you know, which is 23 degrees, gives you x. Or you could do 23 degrees plus x will give you the whole of 90. Either option will work. And when you solve it, you will get 67 degrees for x. And I'm going to go ahead and write the 67 right here on the screen. What I would like you to do is pause the video and go grab a piece of paper and a pencil if you don't already have one, because we're going to do a couple practice problems together, and then I'll have you do some by yourself. All right, let's take a look at this first example. So on this example, we know that it is a straight angle. That's that supplementary angle. So we know that we are going to have 180 in our equation. What I'd like you to do is to go ahead and I want you to help me think of an equation. What could I write to try to solve for our missing unknown, which is an x? And remember, we need to include 180. We also need to include the numbers on here. So go ahead and write it on your paper. There are two possible equations that you could do for this one. One that you might have written would have been 180 minus 156 equals x, or you could have chosen to do this. You could have said 156 plus x is going to give you 180. Go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to solve one of the equations to tell me what x equals. And then hit play when you're ready to check your answer. All right, if you did the math correctly, you would get that x is going to equal 24 degrees. So x equals 24. So if you had that, great job. If you made a mistake, maybe check your math on your equations so that you can make sure that you do have it correct. All right, we're going to take a look now at an example with a complementary angle. All right, so taking a look at this example with a complementary angle. Again, let's start out together. Let's do this. We're going to write an equation. Now think about what you already know about this angle. We know that we do see a complementary angle here, so that means we're going to need to use a 90 somewhere in our equation. And then we see that we have an unknown x, and we also have 15 degrees. So go ahead and write an equation for me. Pause the video and then hit play when you're ready to check your equation. So one equation could be 90 minus what we know are 15 degrees equals our x, or you could end up choosing to do addition. You could do x plus 15 is going to equal 90 degrees. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and pick one of the equations to solve, then go ahead and hit play and we'll check the math to see if you have the correct answer. All right, so when you solved this, if you did the math correctly, depending on either equation would work, you would find that x would equal 75 degrees. Again, if you had a mistake and you didn't get 75 degrees, please pause the video, go back and see if you can check where your mistake was made. All right, for the last part, Now we're going to do a problem where you are going to do it. So take a look at these two problems. We have both types. We have a complementary and a supplementary. So write an equation for each problem and go ahead and solve for the missing part, missing angle. Hit play when you're ready to check. All right, let's check your work. So for the first one, the complementary angle, again, you know it's 90. I chose to do the equation 90 minus 62 equals x. And when I solved for that, x equals 28 degrees. You could have also said 62 plus x equals 90 degrees and solved it that way. For the supplementary angle, we know that it's a straight angle, 180 degrees. So I did 180 degrees minus 47 equals x, which is equal to 133 degrees. The other equation that you could have done was 47 degrees plus x equals 180. All right, we are going to wrap up with a challenge. So looking at this, what would you say is the missing measure of the angle? So I'm going to pause the video, or I want you to pause the video, and I want you to think of a strategy about how you could solve this problem. Again, think about what you know about complementary and supplementary angles, because I'm going to give you a tip. You're going to need to use one of them to help you solve for the missing angle. Then hit play to see if you found the same angle measure that I did. All right, I'm excited to find out if we got the same answers. So here's how I attacked this problem. When I looked at it, I did see that we had a supplementary angle on here. I saw that this whole thing together, 47 plus x plus 23, is going to be equaling 180 degrees. So knowing that, I broke it down into chunks. First of all, I added 47 plus the 23. Together, that is 70 degrees. Once I knew that, I knew if I took the whole 180 minus the 70 degrees, that's going to help me find what x is equal to, the part that's left. So x equals 110 degrees. Now, if I wanted to write it as a whole long equation, it would look like this. I could do 180 minus, and here I'm using those parentheses, the 47 plus 23 to equal x, or I could do 47 plus 23 plus x to equal my 180 degrees. Way to work hard on that last challenge. So as we end, here's a review. First of all, we know that adjacent angles share a side and they are also going to be sharing a vertex. Additive angles can be used to find the unknown adjacent angle. We learned that complementary angles add up to 90 degrees and supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned a lot today.